Okay. Oh my goodness. Did it work? Did it work? Ah! It worked! I never thought that would have worked. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're gonna start chewing on this beast behind me. In a previous video, we took this out and we disked with it for the first time. It had seen action in a field or doing any work for probably a couple of decades, honestly. But anyway, when we did that, the radiator started leaking on us. So you can see I've got a wet spot down there and a wet spot over there. I'm not sure exactly where it's coming from. I mean, it might be coming from down there, but it also, I think, is coming from up above. So I got to get that fixed, and step one is taking it off. Everything on this tractor is a learning experience. To get this nose cone off, there are two, what is that, a 7/16 inch bolt right here, two bolts up here on the top that hold the top of the nose cone in place. But this nose cone is specific to the industrial tractor because I'll show you out on my dad's 830. The nose cone, instead of stopping right here where you have these big lugs where the frame sticks out with these bosses, the nose cone kind of continues down and you have a sheet metal piece that kind of goes and curves under here. But on this frame, this is all just one solid chunk of steel cast. So this is a very banged up nose cone. As you can see, we got a big gouge there. Obviously it's punched in right here, but I have to save this because this is specific to the 830. It's broken down here on both sides. Oh, look, it says right here, power steering. It's kind of cool. But anyway, I was messing around trying to figure out where on earth, there's got to be something else attaching this, but you look up under here, and I finally found it. Let me see if I can get you in here. Up under here, there, right there, there's a little 1/2 inch or 9/16 nut right there. So that's on both sides, I assume. And once those come off, then that whole nose, oh yeah, there it is. They're pretty rusty. But anyway, once I get that off, that whole nose cone should come off.
Where was that at?
Those little nuts right there.
Right there.
Those were so hard to get off, but there it is. Access to the radiator. Now we will just take it off on the backside. Does the radiator, does it just sit on this big pin?
I don't know.
I think that's how it sits on there. That's weird. Well, we'll find out.
Okay. Okay, here we go.
Here's the nut. When I lift this up, watch and see if gunk. I want to try to keep gunk from falling down inside of the intake on this.
Okay.
And so if gunk does fall down there, then I want to vacuum it out. Maybe try to leave the...
Okay. No gunk. Here. Can you... Let's take the air breather off the bottom. Then it'll fit.
Okay, let me grab that.
Here. Okay.
Okay, just 1 minute. I think this clamp.
Yeah, that clamp is the thing that's hitting.
Okay. Let me come back up and help you.
There we go. Should I plug this?
Yeah. Put a clean rag in that. Just put it over the outside of it. There. That's good.
No.
Okay, sit rep. I failed. We got, let me show you. Okay, the radiator is all disconnected. Everything is unbuttoned. Everything is free. I mean, it's free. It pivots back and forth in here. The only thing that's holding the radiator in is this pin. It has a C-clip on the front, which I've removed, and then this pin passes through the lower tank of the radiator and comes out this back side. Can you see that back in there? This pin right here. I have, unless I start taking apart, this is your hydraulic pump, unless I start taking the hydraulic pump, or is this power steering pump? Maybe it's that power steering pump. Either way, unless I take, this is the power steering pump, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it is. Unless I take this pump off, I don't have any access to try to drive that pin out this way. There's a C-clip on this one as well. So, remove that C-clip and I tried as hard as I could to pound this pin back. The problem is you don't have a good straight on angle because that front bumper is in the way. And I tried my favorite tool. It failed. So we got to get this radiator out, or we just rebuild the radiator while it's in the machine. If I can't get that pin out, no big deal. But that means I got to disassemble everything, which means all of these bolts that were under here and holding everything that hold it. You know, these radiators are not complicated. You have an upper tank, a lower tank, and then these sides are just cast sides. And then there's these bars right here that I've already started disconnecting. These bars right here with 6 or 7 bolts that go up through, and it pinches this upper flange of the radiator core to the top tank. So then you don't have a leak around here. I am 95% sure that my leak is coming from the top of the tank. And so I was like, well, geez, I've got to take this top tank off anyway if I'm going to try to fix that. So I might as well just try disassembling it here in the tractor. And the problem is all of these bolts are just little itty bitty 5/16 bolts. I mean, it's a 1/2 inch head, but I think that's a 5/16 bolt. And they twist off so easily and they're so rusted. But miraculously, I got all 6 removed from the front, and I only had 1 twist off on the back, this one right here in the corner, but all the other ones came out in the back. Now I can take these, you can see everything's loose, but I haven't taken that tank off yet. Oh, so let's lift that top tank off. Let's remove these last bolts, and then let's lift that tank off, and let's see what the inside of the core looks like. Let's see what the sealing surface of the gasket, you know, right there, that gasket sealing surface between the core and the tank. Let's see what that looks like. And then let's go from there. I do know that I will have one little fastener to drill out, but that's no big deal. I can fix that. I had already loosened these. I wanted to make sure that nothing, I wanted to verify how many of these were going to be breaking off. This one might have broken off. No, it didn't. I couldn't tell when it loosened. These impact wrenches, this one's not even pneumatic. This one's just a battery powered one. These are amazing for getting rusted bolts off without breaking everything to pieces. Okay, I think it's pretty much loose now. Okay. Okay, there's the top of that tank. Well, there's junk in the radiator, so it's good that I'm taking it apart for that. And there's some corrosion here. But honestly, all of these welds, or not welds, but the solder around all of this on the inside doesn't look too bad. Well, now with the top tank off, I might as well take these sides off and then see if I can get these bottom bolts out without breaking those off. I've got my impact wrench set on the lowest setting. Let's just start right here. Let's see how we do. There's one. 2. 3. 4. 5. 'Oh boy, I don't know if this one's gonna come. It did. 6. Okay, here we go. 1. 2. 3. 4. 5. Here's the last one. Come on, Murphy. No! It It broke. Ah. So I've got 2 broken ones. That's not too bad. I think I've been leaking down here too. I can't put the impact wrench on this bottom, these 2 bottom bolts. So we're going to try to heat this because I do not want to break these off. I want to try not to break them off at least. Boy, don't want to start that grass on fire. So heat this casting up. Try to get it to expand. Okay. Let's put this on. I got it, I think. Yeah. Got it. Thank goodness. Okay, I just took this side off now. Oops. Now let's get this side off. Is it loose? Oh. Yeah, it looks like it's loose. Okay. Okay, I'm going to try to weld a nut. I'm going to try to weld a nut onto that broken off stud. See if we can get it out. Okay. Let's try to put this on. Look. Okay. Now we should have a ground. Let's try welding this on. Okay. Okay, a little fire. Okay. Now I'm going to spray some WD-40 on the bottom side. Okay. No, it's not. I can feel it already twisting. Maybe not. Oh my goodness. Did it work? Did it work? Ah! It worked! I never thought that would have worked. Look at that. Huh. There it is. Okay, I tried heating this down in here and tried hammering that out again, and it's not that important to me. I've got everything taken apart now. I can rebuild it fine now. This can stay here. I'm perfectly happy with that. Well, it's a little bit of a failure today, but we still managed. That radiator, is problematic. But we're doing an in-frame rebuild on that radiator, and I think it'll just be just fine. So let me show you the core right here. Okay, so the core right here, I am betting we are probably leaking out of the core down around here. But I don't know. I'm gonna take it home and I'll clean it up and we'll see what we can do with this core. I would like to save it just because these are probably pretty pricey, and if it was just leaking around the gasket, then I don't want to just throw money at a new core if this one's still good. We could try to put new gaskets on the bottom and also on the top and put the whole radiator back together. And then we could do a little bit of a pressure test and see if it's still leaking. And at that point, if it's still leaking, then taking it apart isn't going to be hard because it's already all been disassembled. So I think that's probably what I'm going to do. Put it back together with new gaskets, see if it leaks. Hopefully it doesn't. If it does, then probably just buy a new core rather than trying to repair it. So anyway, unless you guys have a better idea, I think that's what my plan is. So please comment down below if you think that there's a different way to check that radiator and see if that core is salvageable. But anyway. So it's been about a week and a half since I was up at my dad's taking that radiator apart. And that night when I was driving home, I was thinking about what I mentioned about, putting that radiator core back into the tractor and building it all up and seeing if it leaked. And I decided that that's probably going to be a waste of time. Okay, I had already put 2 doses of radiator leak stop into the radiator trying to stop the leak, and it hadn't fixed it. I am somewhat limited in time that I can spend working up at my dad's just because I have my regular 9-to-5 job every day, and I travel a bit for that job. So, I didn't want to go up there and spend a whole day working up there, putting everything back together just to find out that it was still leaking. And also I talked to my dad and he was like, you know what, just, you don't want to have to worry about heating problems or leaking problems. Just bite the bullet and put a new radiator in it. So I came home, looked online, and I was actually able to find one that's a pretty nice radiator. So this is the radiator that I took out, and I was actually pretty surprised to see that there were only two rows of cooling fins in this radiator. I guess two cells, 2 cores, I don't know what you want to say. But the thickness of this radiator right here is only about 1.5 inches. I would have assumed that they would have had 3. I mean, most of the older letter tractors, they had 3 rows in them, but they were also like a thermal siphon type of cooling. But as I looked at this, I found right here a tag. I don't know if you can see what that says. It's upside down for you, but it says PERFEX Corporation, Milwaukee, and then it has some numbers. I do not know if this company, I Googled them, it seems like they have been around since the early 1900s, but I saw some websites talking about Model Ts and stuff that had aftermarket radiators that were made by Perfex. I'm not sure if that is the company that John Deere used to put, to build their radiators. I mean, it's very possible that right there is an aftermarket radiator. If it was a John Deere radiator, I would have assumed that tag would have just had the AR or whatever part number, John Deere part number stamped into it rather than some aftermarket company. So I'm going to guess that that's an aftermarket radiator. Not to say that it's bad, but the radiator that I got to replace that is much nicer. This is the radiator that I ended up buying. It cost me about $300, but as you can see, it has 3 rows in the core rather than just 2. And so the total thickness of that radiator is about 2 inches rather than the 1.5 inches. And it's a really, it's 100% copper. It's an aftermarket one, obviously, but it says it's made in Ireland. So Seems to be a really good unit, and they gave me free shipping, so that's what I bought. Oh, and also it was the last one that was on the shelf. So that's another reason why I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna buy it. I'm just gonna pull the trigger and be done with it. So I've got this new radiator core that I'm gonna be putting in. I bought some gaskets with it. Now what I need to do is I brought this top tank home. Flip this over. Now what I need to do is drill off and remove that broken bolt. So let's do that really quickly, and then next time we go up to my dad's, we'll take the top tank, we'll get some new fasteners or new hardware, and then we'll put that core in, and that should be the solution to all of our coolant leaking issues. I've got that bolt ground off right there, and then I started center drilling it, and you can see I also used a file, just a flat file right here, and I kind of cleaned off the whole gasket surface right here, so it's pretty flat, pretty clean now. Not a lot of pitting, not a lot of corrosion, so that's good. But now what I'm going to do is, with my new drill bits, this is what I got for Christmas for myself. These are probably some of the best drill bits you can buy, in my opinion. But the only reason they're pink is for breast cancer awareness. So a portion of my purchase went to the Susan G. Komen Breast Cancer Awareness Foundation. So good there. But these are all American-made, high-speed steel drill bits. Very, very nice. And man, they are slick. So I've only drilled about that much so far, but I'm going to use my drill guide. This is just to keep me perpendicular to the surface here, and while I'm drilling out that broken off bolt, I don't want to start wandering, so that's what this is for. It does a good job. Okay, we're through. Let's see how we did. Should be just fine. That's about it. Great. Well, here we are. We're back up at my dad's place. It's actually been a couple of weeks since I last worked on this tractor. I had to order a couple of parts. I can't remember exactly what I talked about last. So hopefully there's not too much overlap with the way I edit everything. But the goal today is to get the radiator put back together. I've got the new core that I picked up. This is an aftermarket core, but I like this one more than the core that was in it because it has 3 rows of tubes. And then I've got to clean up this gasket surface. This is a new gasket set that I bought. I ended up buying a heavy duty type of gasket. Does it say any place here? Oh, right here. Sorry. It says right here, these gaskets are a material that consists of a rubber cellulose, so it's highly compressible. So I did pay a little bit more for these gaskets rather than just the normal gasket material. I figured with any sort of irregularity that's in the sealing surface on the bottom or the top tank, that I wanted to have this more compressible, more moldable gasket material. So I'm going to be throwing that on, but let's go ahead and let's get this lower tank surface all cleaned up.
Oh, that's a pretty good job. It's just a file that we've put a knife edge on the end of it, and it does a pretty good job scraping off these old gaskets and any sort of corrosion. And then, after I'm done doing that, I can just take the file and kind of surface plane. I'll see it still has some gasket maker or something right there. So that took a bit of time to get everything cleaned up here on this surface, but I'm really pleased with how flat and smooth it is. There's not any bad pitting or anything like that, so we should get a nice good seal with that gasket along that surface. Bought all new hardware. This is all grade 8 hardware. It's probably overkill, but if I ever have to take this apart again, it'll be nice knowing that I won't twist these bolts off, hopefully. This is kind of, if you can see, this is what the bolts that used to be in it. I mean, they just rusted so badly, but can't use that, so got all new hardware, so that'll be good. So here's the top tank. This fastener right here broke while I was disassembling it. I think it was this one. And I tried welding onto it, and I was unsuccessful in welding on a nut and extracting that broken fastener there. So instead, I was able to just grind everything flat, and I drilled that bolt out and cleaned it up with a tap. And those threads I was able to get those threads cleaned up without any problems. So anyway, we'll get this top tank. Oh, and then I also cleaned up the gasket surface. So this top tank is ready to do. Oh, there it is, all put back together. Everything's tightened. Everything went together really well. No problems at all. I actually haven't filled it full of water yet. I've still got to tighten, connect the rest of the water lines, put the water pump back on, but for the most part, I'm really happy with that. It's a good idea to just replace that radiator core. Well, that is going to do it for today's video. So nice to have that radiator put back together. It'll be nice knowing that I've got a good cooling system, that I'm not going to have to worry about overheating or anything like that, mainly I won't have to worry about any more leaks. So thanks so much for watching, guys, and as always, I will catch you next week with another video.